Have you ever noticed that there are certain guitar players who can pick up any guitar, plug into any piece of gear, and almost immediately sound great? Almost without fail, when these guys get a great sound out of some unexpected piece of gear, somebody comes along and says, well, I guess tone is in the hands, and I don't have Tim Pierce's hands, so I'm out of luck. Today we're going to unpack that. Is tone in the hands? Kinda. Your hands don't make any sound on their own, at least not anything that would qualify as a guitar sound. That's why we have instruments. That's what the gear is for. Also, I've yet to meet anybody with a reverb built into their hands, or a ring modulator. There are certain sounds that just require specific pieces of gear. Although, if you've figured out how to make a reverb sound with just your hands, please let me know. I'd love to hear about that. Moving on, your hands still play a huge role in the sound of your guitar, and they're absolutely worth considering as an integral part of your signal chain. So do these players have some sort of mystical power in their hands that makes them sound so good? Is there some connection between their souls and their fingertips that they have that the rest of us don't? There's a possibility that there's something to that. But what all these players for sure have is something a little bit more concrete. They have an excellent connection between their ears and their hands. They know how subtle adjustments in technique will change the sounds that they're hearing out of whatever it is that they're playing. And they've practiced this enough that those adjustments are instantaneous, and to the rest of us, it just seems like they have some mythical power that gives them this great sound immediately, regardless of what they pick up. You can't learn this skill immediately. It's like any other skill. It takes practice. But what I can do is show you a couple of different ways that your playing technique affects your tone and the specific relationship between those two things. And hopefully that'll jumpstart you into being able to make subtle adjustments with your hands to get closer to the sounds that you're looking for. I'm going to focus on picking hand technique. So for me, that's my right hand. For most of us, that's going to be our right hand. I'll do this in two different contexts. The first one will be an acoustic guitar. I think the acoustic guitar is a great place to start because the only way that you can change your tone on an acoustic guitar is your hands. And then we'll look at doing some of the same things on a distorted electric guitar. There will be some similarities and a few differences, which I'll highlight throughout. So off we go. So the first and most important thing is, how hard are you picking? This is going to affect volume, but it will also affect the tone considerably. So if I start off by picking lightly, pick a little harder now, and now I'm going to strum way too hard. So on that last strum, you can tell there's a big transient spike and almost a crunch in the string at the beginning of the note, and then it dies off. Which isn't objectively bad. It might be what you want sometimes. But if you want a note to really bloom, the best thing to do is to pick it lighter. There's a certain point past which the string kind of gives up. So that's pick dynamics. Now let's talk about picking location. So normally I would pick right about here over the sound hole. But what happens if I pick by the bridge instead? Really steely, a lot of high end, almost all the low end is gone. Now let's go the other direction and pick over the 12th fret. As you might expect, the tone went the opposite direction. There's a ton of low end. It sounds full, almost too full. Just between those two aspects, we can already get a pretty wide variety of tones. without changing anything on the floor. Obviously, this is an acoustic guitar, there's nothing on the floor. The last thing with the pick to consider is pick angle. So to this point, if you imagine that my fingers are the strings, I've been attacking them with the pick parallel. What happens if I attack them with the pick closer to perpendicular instead? You might think that this would be brighter, but after the initial attack, the opposite is actually true. This will be darker than this. Let me show you. So here we are. That's with the pick flat. Now, let's turn it. Back to flat. Back to turned. So now I'm going to ditch the pick, play with my fingers instead, and we'll look at some of the subtle shades we can get here. So if I'm playing a string with my finger, I can play it lightly with the tip of my finger. I can dig in more and get more of a percussive attack. Or I can play super lightly and just brush the string with almost the pad of my finger. And of course I can use my thumb, and my thumb has such a wide surface area that again the tone's going to be different versus and then if I want to, I can use my fingernails and brush the strings this way. So combining all of these approaches, we can pull a ton of sounds out of just one acoustic guitar, combining the pick and fingers and exploring all of the shades therein. All right, we're back with an electric guitar, and it sounds like this. So pretty distorted. A lot of the same tonal principles are going to apply on this as did on the acoustic guitar. The key difference being that with distortion comes compression. So at a certain point, as I pick harder, this isn't going to get any louder, it's going to get more distorted instead. So what used to be a dynamic control has become more of a distortion control. So if I pick lightly, it's fairly clean. So then let me work my way up from there. The other things are pretty much the same. So if I pick back by the bridge versus over the neck, still about the same. Same with the pick angle. You can hear the distortion reacting differently to the brightness and the darkness of each of those techniques, but we're still in a similar ballpark. So now let's drop the pick and play a little bit of fingerstyle stuff. So playing fingerstyle on an electric guitar like this is a lot of fun because as you lean in and get that more percussive attack, it ends up being a lot more useful than it is on the acoustic guitar, at least in my experience. So for some of you, I'm sure that was review, but hopefully that was helpful to somebody, and hopefully you're able to incorporate some of these techniques and think about them in the context of your playing. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite gear-independent tone shaping tool or technique? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to like and subscribe if this kind of content is your kind of thing, and I will see you in the next video.